Very thoughtful.
I need to remember to not be screaming my laugh.
Very empathetic.
Let me get a pillow for my back.
Are you leaning back or are you just sitting?
I think I'm gonna sit forward for my posture.
I'm gonna get this for myself if I need it. I need it. If it's on, it's whatever. Okay.
Is there a recording?
Yeah. Welcome
Good
to episode
evening.
1. Well.
Good evening, folks. Welcome. Let me stop being a jerk.
Literally.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Welcome to episode 1. I'm Sandra.
I'm Jane.
And this is Sister Sit Down.
Today we're going to be talking about Love is Blind, as everyone's talking about.
I hope you guys are caught up.
You
Keep
should
up. Keep sharp.
You should be caught up
You know?
by this point.
Look sharp. We have a lot to talk about. Very much.
So sit with
So
us.
guys, I literally think we're just gonna jump right in.
We're just going to go through it.
We keep saying guys, you don't know who the guys are.
It's you. Obviously.
We will see. Anyway,
Okay.
what do we do?
Episode
Okay.
1. Just entering in.
You
You
want
go
to read
first,
your
Jen.
first thoughts?
Okay, I don't know if I should. My very first thought watching it when it started was there's so many visual spoilers. Like when I see the recap, like this is what the season is, and there's like people kissing, like a blonde and a black man. Now I'm watching the show like,
Oh, I
You know what I
didn't
mean?
really clock
because
that.
they do like a whole montage. So at this point, at the very beginning, I'm like, oh, a bald guy is with a blonde. Like, oh, actually, but I don't think. But at that point, I don't remember the
think I
names.
clocked- Yeah, I didn't
But
clock
it's very
that at
much
all.
like.
Okay, you're a very
But to be
visual
fair,
person.
I'm just now saying that knowing what I know.
I was gonna
So
say
I don't know if I actually clocked.
you're
that.
a very visual person, so I feel like even there were so many spoilers of who the people were
That's what it
already
is.
on the
That's
show,
what it is.
and so much stuff that I don't pay attention to the
No.
details. So
It was a
already
spoiler of
behind
like, I know these are the couples I should care about because I saw Curly hair this. Like I know this.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
My friends kept sending like who the cast was.
I don't
So
care
I
about
already,
that stuff.
that's
It's
what I'm
just
saying.
that,
So
like-
even the visual, if you had seen that and then saw the spoilers, it probably would have been like, damn. But I don't
I
pay
don't-
attention
yeah, I
to
don't know the
details,
cast.
so it was like whatever. Anyway, so getting actually into your thoughts are probably laid out.
Mine are
differently
chronological
than mine.
order, so it's just
No,
like
mine are as well, but
my second thought was these hosts
the
are so
hosts are so
corny.
corny. That's what I was gonna say. As
I said,
usual.
where are
You
Lauren
can
and
tell
Cameron?
though. That just reminded me. You can tell though they're
Less of
trying
them.
to give them a little bit more of a palatable, like I don't know how.
They're more palatable than what's the other show? The Ultimatum.
Yeah,
'Cause
they're
they
so
talk to
cringy
each
there. But the cast is still always in this like mom and dad, and it's so annoying to me. I don't know if they push that on them, but
I think it's just jokes. It's like you're just happy to be here. I'll be
but
like,
mom and dad,
you might as well suck up to the teachers. While
You
you're
can
here.
tell Vanessa though is trying to she's trying hard to tame it down. She's really trying. But anyway, they're not.
I actually don't remember her at all. That was my second thought, and I moved past it.
My first actual thought has to do with some of the couples though. So keep going with yours if it's
My
not, if it's
next
just
one,
like
I was
preface.
just like, I have a lot of thoughts. So I don't know if I should just read through them. I feel like a good chunk of the beginning of the episode was about Lydia. I said, is this Lydia's episode? But then I realized they were just
Okay.
jumping from this person talks and they talk to this person and now becomes this person's story. So I was like, oh, okay,
I
fine.
don't remember much of that, but okay.
Do you remember the names? Or do I need to
Yes.
describe
no,
them? If
I
you don't know,
the names,
just
but describe them
describe.
as you're talking.
So Lydia is the Puerto Rican. She will not let you
Yes.
forget that she's
Ooh,
crazy,
child.
guys. She's so out there. She's just like, she's not
Wait.
too much though. Like, she thinks she's just the right amount and she just wants someone to accept her.
I hope it didn't stop recording because my laptop says move the mouse to resume.
That's your laptop.
But is the actual phone still recording?
Okay.
So my first thought on like one of the couples, there must have been a moment where this was a silly thing. It must have been because I barely remember it. But I said it was already a red flag that Johnny says "I love you" to Izzy as early as she did, and it was just a passing joke.
She
And I was
did.
like,
No, I caught that
You
too.
could tell it kind of slipped out kind of fast, but it was like
And that's
a lot.
another thing of like I don't, because you know me, like I don't even growing up like just casual I love you's already, but like bro,
It's
we're
like
in an
it's day one.
experiment
It's day
where
one,
like
babe.
saying I love you like actually
No.
means something. So maybe keep that to yourself even if you're joking.
Ah,
And it didn't feel like a
was
joke. It felt like a hey I love you just like to remember me.
It was giving. This is someone who's probably a love bomber in the real world. Do you know what I mean? Like she
And,
said
and
it
as
so
we progress
fast.
through my analysis of Johnny,
But I don't even remember who Johnny is now that I'm thinking about it.
yes you do, yes you do.
What does she look like?
Regular. She looks like
Is
a
she
regular
white?
white woman. Yeah, like there's.
Is Johnny the one? Oh, Johnny's the dark haired.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Do you know what's so funny?
she is the
Someone
one who said
somewhere in
I
there
love
she was telling Chris that she has a beagle, and I was thinking she looks like a fucking beagle. Bro.
she looks like a beagle mom. Yeah, for sure, for sure.
She looks like
Okay,
a
so
fucking
give
beagle.
one of your thoughts.
Next up, I was thinking Izzy's bald, but he has great teeth. Like
Izzy's I think
yeah.
Izzy's cute. He
I
looks
was
like
like,
a short
he's
kid,
like,
but
no, he
he's
looks a
cute.
little short. I saw him in the lineup. I said, Izzy.
He's cute. He's
but-
someone
but-
that I would tell one of my short friends
No,
to give a
but
chance.
he's a prime example that it like too much testosterone will really just swipe your hair up because he's got good muscles. He's got too much testosterone will make you lose your hair.
He looks good bald though. I feel bad
No,
that
he
that's
looks
an
good.
insecurity of his.
But the fact that it's an insecurity of his and he voiced it shows he's gonna be a menace. Like
When he is a menace. He is a menace. You find out. When he said he went on a date and he took off his hat and one of the girls said, she left. I see why Mandem are stressed in these streets because how
Right.
can you, that's savage. How can you do that?
But the thing is, like, watching him throughout the episodes, I'm like, I'm almost like waiting. Like, he seems like something's gonna, like, a shoe's gonna drop about him. But I was
About
thinking,
him or like in his situation?
I assumed it was gonna be like you know when you see
like
a
you think
man.
he's gonna drop a bomb or something.
No, I thought he
crazy
was gonna be like
happen.
toxic, like he was gonna wind up being like a gaslight or whatever. I don't necessarily think he has like he's that
The
malicious.
capacity to do-
Yeah. But I still have one eye.
He's giving me
Open.
the more as the episodes go on, the more I'm getting from him. The feeling I'm getting from him is more like not necessarily malicious.
So we left off on Izzy.
Okay. What were you saying about Izzy?
I see him having the potential to be like a male gaslighter, manipulator, whatever the case may be.
Can you
But
turn the fan off? I'm so sorry.
yes.
Okay, I literally have two more thoughts
You can pass
about a different couple,
Okay.
and then I have an end of episode recap.
Okay.
So I have a last comment about a couple, a question for you, and then a recap.
Okay.
So my next comment was basically, I kind of love Uche and Aaliyah together. I don't remember which moment in episode 1 that I started thinking this, but I was like, I kind of like them, like the comment. They're both, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't like him personally. It's not like he's my cup of tea, but I really like them together.
That's really interesting. I don't know if it was this episode or it comes later, so I don't know if I want to bring it up.
What? Okay, so let me ask you my question
Okay.
first, so that it doesn't ruin it. So my question for you was, what do you think about the Uche and Aaliyah cheating conversation?
Bro, to be fair, I actually really value that conversation. I
Me
did
too.
enjoy it because I felt like it was giving like these are two. First of all, when the conversation started, I said, "Nah, not y'all both sitting here saying I hate you." I said, "Let me just read what I wrote down."
Literally.
I said, "Nah, saying you hate lies, then confessing to being a liar is
It's so
wild.
crazy.
That's so.
She said, yeah, me too. That's my number one.
I hate liars.
Let me tell you about when I lied just last year, just 2 years ago. Please.
Come on. But I said this is a real ass conversation. Like I said, I wish she gave him more time to process. Like I wish she didn't leave. Because why are you mad?
Yeah.
Like he's the one who should be upset in this situation.
Okay.
Give him some time to
So
process.
this is another thought I had during their conversation, because at first, as it was starting, I don't remember what they were talking about, but I was almost wanting, this might be my projecting, but I almost was just ready to think he was gaslighting her. But I was like, he's kind of fair in what he's saying and how he's analyzing the situation, asking all the right questions.
Pursue.
Just like a lawyer,
That's
like he
us.
is. He's asking the right questions, he's getting her to, and you could tell the shame was almost coming up within her in explaining how soon she had this encounter, all these different things. But yes, the way she walked out really much was giving me immature, because why are you crying? And then she started to gaslight him about how he was feeling.
Because then this is the end of the episode.
That's what I'm saying. I really just was, every time I'd have a thought, I would just,
We didn't talk about the whole.
that's what I'm saying. So talk through your thoughts then, because you've written more detailed ones, and then I'll give you what I was thinking at those times. Because I didn't write down like at what point these were happening. I would just write down how I'm feeling every now and then. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, I see what you're saying.
So we can backtrack if you want.
Let's
No,
continue.
backtrack.
No, let's continue with Uche. We can wrap up episode 1 with like our opinion, our first initials on the actual people we remember.
Okay.
Right.
So, yeah, that was my question for you. What do you think about the Uche and Aaliyah cheating situation? I was like, yeah, it is kind of crazy that you just cheated in your last situation. And he was asking a very valid
I thought
question
the
and saying,
I thought the conversation could have handled it so beautifully. I don't think she's.
mature
I don't think
enough
she's as
to.
emotionally mature as she likes to pretend she is.
She's not
Like-
emotionally mature at all, and you can see that in her relationships
very
with the
valid.
girls as well.
Bro.
You can see it immediately. She doesn't.
Even the juxtaposition in the way that Uche was handling the conversation when he was discussing with the guys, he was withholding details. He didn't even say her name.
Exactly.
He just said one of the women that I'm having a conversation with shared something
Exactly.
that like makes me feel a certain way.
Their kind of dynamic is there's a weird imbalance that exists in their dynamic that has the potential to be toxic.
Yeah.
Because she's so emotionally unaware and he's very intelligent that if he ever chose to, he could gaslight the fuck out of her and she would never know. Do you know what I'm saying?
I think that's so fascinating, the way that you have the capability of being like, he could
Because
do it if he wanted to.
If he wanted to, but you can tell he's a good person.
Think
Like you said, that dynamic between him even telling the boys says a lot more about him than it does about anything else.
Because
you're
it
right.
really becomes a thing where she wants to manipulate him, but she's not.
can't. She literally
But he
cannot.
could manipulate her.
Because
and he's choosing
manipulation
not
not only takes a level of like, yeah,
to.
we're not even gonna go
Maliciousness,
there.
but like intelligence.
Intelligent, yeah.
I said when looking at the way that they were talking with the way she was talking with the girls and the way he was talking with the guys, I was like, Aaliyah's tears are a little OD. This is when I was like, where are the other black women? Like, show me anybody else.
Yes.
Like, give me somebody
There's
else.
so many times where Aaliyah cries and I'm like, was there
I
a
was
tear?
like, are you actually crying?
Yeah, was there a
Are
tear
you
there? It's all.
And honestly, that's why I'm like, I don't understand your hatred for Stacey, because this episode really vindicated me with Stacey.
I don't have
became
a
Stacey
strong
fan.
opinion of.
I became a
Where did
Stacey
you become
fan.
a Stacey fan in episode
I
1?
became a Stacey fan, like, because in the
like
beginning,
a non-entity to
no,
this episode.
and literally Uche and what's her face, Stacey was there when Uche walked in crying. The
When
second Aaliyah said, he thinks I'm gonna cheat on him because I'm a cheater. Like I saw Stacey's face as she walked away. She was like, someone else can handle this. Like, this doesn't need my input or opinion. And this is stupid. Like, her face said everything I was thinking and feeling, because I was like, what is this stupid conversation?
Literally.
And looking back
And
at
why
that
did you even
conversation
walk
now
out?
with Lydia? Sick.
Girl, oh
Sick.
gosh.
She's sitting there being like, he...
Please stop. Please. You can't.
No,
even
I
go
just
there.
want to
That's
say
like
what
this
she said.
episode.
No, I want to say what Lydia said to Aaliyah.
It's not episode 1.
It is episode 1. What Lydia said to Aaliyah, that episode.
About the cheating?
Yes. The
Okay,
cheating
I
was
don't want to go
confessed.
through my
The
thoughts.
cheating
Go
was
ahead.
confessed episode 1, and
Yeah.
Lydia's sitting there looking Aaliyah in the face, talking about like, first of all, the advice you should have given is
He's
you
right.
should have allowed him to process that information.
Yeah.
But instead, what she said is, if he doesn't pull his shit together and let you, like, be you and trust you, and he can get over it, he's not the one, and he doesn't deserve you. And I see myself in you. Why are
This
you
was
projecting?
not episode 1.
That was episode 1. That was episode 1.
There's no way
it's
that.
under episode 1.
That's.
I said Stacey excusing herself from this petty ass conversation is hilarious, and I stand.
Oh, okay. I missed a lot of details that
I
I must have been.
understand.
There's so many moments where I would just keep watching. I'm like, you're supposed to be.
Yeah, you should have been doing your homework.
Okay, so listen. This is my end of episode 1 recap.
Okay.
I'm just gonna read my thoughts of how I wrote them. I might have to stop myself if they get a little crazy, but all I wrote was, I did. This was episode 1. So I said, I don't like that Lydia is so desperate to project and compares everyone's situation to hers. So I was like, I feel
your
like
advice is not.
I wrote down, I feel like you should be careful of people who give advice this way. They'll have you giving up something that's good for you because they're projecting their own insecurities and also the problems they're facing. I was like, girls like this, I feel like will never let you be happy, especially if they're not happy.
Especially if they're not.
Yeah.
Especially that.
You're right, because it was the very end of that
Especially if they're
episode,
not
and
happy.
she just kept. This was after her situation. Izzy had ended things with her. I feel like.
Oh yes, I said Izzy, be for real with Lydia. Don't waste her time. And then he proceeded to say.
So yeah, at this part, Lydia just kept. The end of the episode just kept irritating. The way she was talking to Aaliyah was just so icky to me. I was like, you're doing a lot.
This episode to me, even in regards to Lydia, was like, because after Izzy ended things with her, which I was so proud of him for. I said yes, because things like this, you almost like. In relationships, you almost never see the man making at least when do you see it? But like, why would you cut it off if someone's throwing themselves at you? But in this situation, you need to filter it down and figure it out.
Because in the real world, men give.
But she was doing
Lydia chances.
She was doing
all
the
time.
fake cry thing like
Lydia.
Aaliyah, and it was very much like it was one of those moments where you've heard me say this all the time, but it's like I love the tears. I guess I didn't really love the tears, but I'm like your vulnerability is not rewarded with someone else's love. Like, just because you shared yourself with him doesn't mean, like, now I have to love you because you love me back. Why?
And the hard part about the dynamic about love bombing is really hard because you don't. This is where I feel like my strategy with people and with men in general is definitely a defense mechanism. It's a safety thing. But it allows me to genuinely see where somebody else is coming from. When you literally throw, there was one part where she just kept saying, I like you so much. You like me too. Like I feel like we get along so well. We're just the same. Like we really, she just kept saying
Just
to him
because
on
you
the
say it
date,
doesn't
like
make it real.
I was so and then that's why the when things end, it feels like such bigger of a bond because all he has to do is agree with you here and there because you're giving.
And
all
you can't
of
even
this.
see body language, but in his tone alone, you should have been like.
You should have told.
He said, "I really like you," and he goes, "Okay."
He literally said, "Okay."
Said,
Even when he
"Yeah."
walked in, there was one date she walked in. She's like,
disappointed
"I was so
with
excited to see you," and he's just like, "Okay," and she's
You
like,
don't
"You're
want-
quiet. Read the room. Read the room."
Like,
Okay.
be so serious.
Episode 2. I don't want to read my thoughts before we have them.
No, but
So-
my standouts on that, Stan Stacy. Big fan of Chris. Johnny seems like a forgettable woman who looks like a person who owns a beagle.
Okay, so
Episode 2.
Izzy, I like him. Iffy on Stacy still. Lydia, red flag.
Stan.
Big, fat red flag. Aaliyah is giving emotionally mature. We already said that.
Yeah.
Uche, I like him. Still a fan of him. The two the white couple.
Literally. What are they giving?
Nothing there.
Red, white, and blue.
Okay, so
Episode
episode 2.
two.
The first thing I wrote was random thought. Notice how the guys seem to cry everywhere else but in the man's quarters. So I said the example was Chris cried to the cameras and in the pod before he leaves, then acts tough to the girls. But Miriam ran straight to the girls' quarters and cried to them. That was a silly random thought.
But it's all performative. Like, why are the because half the girls
Exactly.
that are crying there.
The girls
Shouldn't
don't
be
even
crying
give
at all.
themselves a
Because think
moment
about
to
because
run.
even
to
Johnny
think.
cried off camera. Like the girls who are going in to cry are the Lydias and the Aaliyahs.
Yeah,
So it's
and
like,
even Lydia, yeah.
you know what I mean? So it's
Exactly,
like,
you're right,
it's not
exactly.
the-
Very random thought. Okay.
But I think this followed up with Lydia being like, Lydia's problem is that she wants to be chosen so badly. Instead of, I don't even want to say instead of choosing people because she won't
It's
even choose
giving-
correctly.
Is that the definition of a pick me?
Yes, it's a pick me because she's not actually,
She wants-
she's not like assessing the quality of a man and herself to be like, this is what I
Yes.
value, and this is what
a
I
good
want.
match for
She
me.
just
And-
throwing
and
herself
that's
out
what's
there and
crazy.
seeing who can reel her in.
Exactly. Any man, because the thing that's really crazy about this is, as soon as she walks out of the pods,
She doesn't.
she's
not
gonna disrespect
want
Milton. She's gonna
You
disrespect
already
him
knew
so
in yourself
bad.
you did not want a 24-year-old, but you're assuming this is a 24-year-old engineer who loves
No,
rock
she's
like you,
making
who's so
herself think
beautiful.
that now.
Yeah,
because it didn't
because
work
she
out
didn't
with
have-
Izzy. Meanwhile, she still knows he's not fully the person that she needs to be with. She knows that. She just
But wait
wants
till
a
she
man.
sees his face.
Yay! Not even in his face.
Rub
And
it.
when he said
Disrespect.
he tried to slip in his height so she could almost gas herself. Wait till you see what he really looks like. Not that Milton's even ugly, but he's not her type.
He's not.
He's not her type. He's not the. You know when you just see people and they just don't make sense.
They
They're not
don't
gonna
make
make
sense.
sense.
That's Stacey and Izzy made sense in my brain. That's why I said
Yeah. Stacey and Izzy's personality, the more you get to know them, make more sense together than
Like
him and
Johnny could not have.
They would never have fun together. Izzy would get so bored of her. And you could tell, I almost feel like Izzy would be more attracted to Stacey once he get out
Yeah.
than he would have been
Yeah.
to Johnny.
Yeah.
Even though I
But
do
maybe
feel
that's
like
me projecting. Like I don't know their type,
exactly,
but,
I do feel like him and Johnny were emotionally more mature than him and Stacey. But I feel like he and Stacey could help each other get to a place
Exactly.
where they need to
Because
be.
it would be
Because
very
Stacey
much.
actually is like not
Yeah.
good at being vulnerable.
No, but neither of them are. But it
He
always.
is though. He's had moments where he's been vulnerable with Johnny.
I think that I think he's vulnerable with Johnny because Johnny's vulnerable with him. It's giving like when someone has like a healthy 2.5 kids in their family and everyone's perfect, and then someone comes from like a divorced home. It's like I feel like in his mind that's the way I'm perceiving it. It's like Johnny
Yeah.
brings that out of him because this is how he perceives her as like I can latch onto her family and have her traditions and have her fun and her stability.
I didn't get that from him though. I do agree with you that he feels comfortable talking to her about his trauma because she talks to him about that's how they bond on their issues. But I did feel like they had a much more emotional connection. I did get the family aspect from them. I didn't think that.
No, this is me like making a caricature of a
yeah.
person.
I lost my train of thought with them. It might come up later, but there was a moment where I felt like he did have some things that he wanted to talk about, but I felt like after a while he gets at
He
some
shuts
point
down.
he's like you have it's a little bit too much for him. He's like, whoa, you have a lot, like, and when hers start to supersede his, then he's almost getting uncomfortable. You can
It's
see where he
almost
gets
in a, like,
overwhelmed by that.
When you can see because we can see their faces as an audience, it's like she'll say something that is like it's like to the absolute edge of her vulnerability. She's like, this is how I feel right now. I just want to share that with you. But you can see him closing in. It's like he'll say like, oh, I like you. I really care about you. And her end thought is, yes, I like and care about you too. But to get there, she's like, I've never felt like this about anyone. Like, it's a lot for me to say. It's like, and then like, in the whole time he's having a panic attack.
Yeah.
Like, he's like,
with Stacy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Stacy.
Yeah.
Whereas with Johnny, it's just like, I like you. Oh, I like you.
Exactly.
And you don't have to deal with the stress and anxiety.
Exactly. I do appreciate that Izzy is very honest though. He's like, I have fun with the other girl.
Yes.
Whereas with you,
when he walked in and said that, I said,
yeah, I was like, good.
This is right after he broke up with Lydia. I said,
yeah, he very much was doing how the guys need to cut it. Anyway, read through all of your random.
I said, Milton, you are not. No one thought you were bold or confident, but okay.
When did he say?
He said that to Lydia. He said, I'm not as bold or as confident as people may think I am. I said, anybody who's seen you does not think that, but okay.
It's not automatically giving bold and confident.
I said, am I a bad person for zoning out while he's crying?
Who cried?
Exactly. It was JP.
Oh,
what's he crying about? I don't remember.
Listen, all I said about them was JP and what's her name aren't gonna work, LOL, and I quote in quotations after that meeting. That was the most awkward.
They are the stereotypical, I hate to say it, but since the show will never address it, they're giving like small town Republican couple, like they're the divorce stats, okay? Them, specifically.
They're giving, I'm supposed to be married at this age. They're just giving this is how it's gonna work.
He's sitting there with his flag, like, why is your flag just
red, white, and blue?
Yeah. I said these people are fake deep. Like I need real deep. Like I want actual emotional vulnerability.
Exactly.
Like just because you
learn nothing about them.
Talking about my favorite color and like you love red, white, and blue. Like what does that have to do with anything profound?
And you can see it as soon as she meets him because she's like, it was already like pulling teeth getting conversations out of him, which is crazy because you're in a situation where all you have to do is talk. Literally all you have to do is talk, and he couldn't even do that. But there's a moment where he started. Oh, it was when he was crying about his mom, wasn't it? When his
mom,
yeah.
I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for making you a bad person, but I was like, okay. Like, your mom used to, like, mess up their room and shit. Like, that's so awful, bro.
I am crying.
Are you gonna talk about it with her, or why are you talking about me?
It's so funny that I wrote this so many times. I literally said Milton's gonna give Lydia the immediate, like, I don't even know how to say it when she sees this man. This is another situation.
Like,
oh my, this is something that's so interesting to me in terms of watching these shows, right? Because it's so interesting to recognize that for one extreme to exist, the other has to exist, right? So for someone like Lydia to be, we were talking about this in terms of the Aaliyah and Uche situation, where for someone to be this emotionally immature and blah, 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 emotionally whatever, you have to have the opposite end, right? For that puzzle piece of it. In the same way, for someone like Lydia, who can be so go, the reason it didn't work out with Izzy is because he's not like a Milton, who is so in the opposite direction that someone like Lydia can fill those pieces. You know what I mean? And you see that even later on when he is fully confused about the situation with...
I think it's just one force acting on the other. So it's like, she can move him.
That's what I'm saying. So for someone like her to be able to exist,
but I don't think that's so much about a puzzle piece. I think it's more so like, he could be swayed and grabbed and pulled in one direction or another. Sorry for the...
So that's why he it's almost somewhat working with someone like her who is forceful and pulling people.
If you really if you took
I don't want to say pulling people, but she's just so much. I don't even know how to go back to that words, but
when it comes to whatever episode it is. I said again, Izzy. I was expecting Izzy to be secretly evil, but he seems chill. So far, we'll see.
Okay, so I can tell in this part I'm not feeling Stacy because I said Stacy and Izzy. At some point I said Stacy and Izzy are giving me trauma bond.
Okay, I can see how you would say that.
And I don't remember what part, but I was like, I feel like he likes her because she isn't vulnerable at all, like Johnny, but he acted so weird when Johnny, the only part when he starts acting weird with Johnny is when her baggage starts to supersede his. So there's a part of him that wants the vulnerability, but as soon as
he's scared of it
soon as she had a little bit more than him, he doesn't have the capacity to accept her.
There was a moment when Johnny ended it with Chris, which I don't know why she did. Never cut your options. Exactly. But it was a moment when she showed up and it was basically like, it's just you. That I was like, why did you do that?
Literally. I hate when girls put all of the power in the man's hand like that instead of you to just...
And then
you
make the choice,
you almost use it as if that's supposed to make him want you more.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
why would he want
you're
you
my
more?
only option. You're my only option. That literally means nothing to him because he still has two.
But circling back to what you said about Izzy and him being a trauma bond, there was a conversation that they were having. I don't know if this was this episode or not, but I was observing it, thinking like these are two people with an unhealthy attachment style having a conversation.
Yeah. Okay, then maybe that's where I was.
Because it wasn't. No, this is what I was gonna say. It wasn't until he ended things with Johnny and I watched Johnny walk into there to have a conversation with him that I was like, the whole time I was assessing Johnny's
response.
The whole time I was assessing her trauma, but I didn't take a moment to be like, oh, how is Izzy processing this, and is he processing it in a healthy way?
I was focusing more on Izzy at that point. What's crazy because I did have a note here where after their disagreement, I said, Johnny's really emotionally intelligent, it seems. After her disagreement with Izzy, that there was a scene where she had a disagreement with Izzy, and my only note was Johnny is actually really like mature and emotionally intelligent. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember what their disagreement was about at all, but there's a part of Stacey that I kind of said like, oh, we can kind of see.
Do you want me to turn it off? Is it still recording?
Yeah, it's still recording. There's a moment where, with Stacey and Izzy, I was like, Stacey felt more like she just wanted to be picked more than to actually connect with him. That, like, she just kept going back to the girls' quarters, taking information, and then going back and just, like, there was something about it that wasn't sitting right with me. Because I think I literally wrote, I was like, girl, people, like, Stacey was giving me more of, like, she wants more to be picked than to see if she actually has an emotional connection with him. I was like, this is kind of what's confusing. It felt like that may be what was confusing Izzy, because she knows that he and her have fun together, but he's a lot more vulnerable with the other girl. She literally cannot offer vulnerability. She doesn't do that at all. That's why she just kept telling him, like, wouldn't you rather have more fun with someone? Like, but I didn't like that she kept going back to the girls' quarters and just like, all the other girls were not only being vulnerable in the pods, but also with the other girls. So she was just sitting there taking in. If I get what you're saying about be tactful, about not opening your guts to everyone, but she literally was sitting there talking to Johnny at some point, or talking to some of the other girls, knowing what's going on, but then you go and use it to your advantage.
I don't view it as like fucking like psychological warfare. I think it's especially in an environment like this when you're actively dating the same people. Mm. These girls going, like, people like Lydia and Aaliyah walking into this space, then they didn't even know that they're layers of whatever.
Girl.
But like this is not the space where you seek out advice from the person who's pursuing the same your competition. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So like that's why I could at least respect Stacey, because even in the moments where she would share something, it's like, I see that the people you're having a conversation with do not overlap with you in any capacity.
Who was she talking to at the table? It wasn't Johnny, right?
No, she's never talking to Johnny.
There's another girl, yeah. Anyway, I did think at the end of this, after his date with Stacey, after ending things with Johnny, a little part of me thought he made the wrong decision.
No.
A little part of me thought he made the wrong decision. But now, after a couple episodes, I know later on, I think him and Stacey are more compatible.
I think I was fully scared that he was going to pick Johnny. Like, even
you can tell they're not going to make
Stacey,
it together anyway.
Honestly, even before Stacey even, like, was vulnerable a little bit, I was still like, I want him with Stacey.
Really?
I just really feel like everyone should be with who I say they should be with.
I didn't think that he should be with Johnny. I just didn't think he should be with Stacey.
But you know what? I'm also just going with like the better of the options. It's not like this is your life partner and you should be with them. I'm saying of the show I'm watching and the options you have in front of you.
Okay, so give some more here.
Are we still on Izzy and Stacey, or can we move on?
Yeah, we can move on. I don't have many.
This episode, I guess, this episode technically should have been about JP and Taylor. They're the ones who got engaged.
Literally, the only thought I have on them is that JP and what's her name are not gonna work. LOL.
Bro, can we just say this? I think by the time I wrote this note, he had done it at least 3 times. She said, I kind of like the nickname Sugar Butt. Why does he keep calling her Sugar?
They're so cringy. It's not even
Sugar
cute.
Butt.
It's not even funny.
I love you, Sugar. Ooh.
He gives nothing. When they met,
he said, bro.
And
I hated their kisses. I hated their kisses so much.
But you know what's even more sick about a couple like them? She is going to make it work for as long as she
Okay,
possibly
pause. This
can.
is now episode 3 because they kiss in episode 3.
Exactly.
The camera turned on and I said, ew, 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 ew.
Pew! I said pew. Pew immediately.
No lips. Ew. He's
Okay,
nervous.
so I
Fine.
have, my first thought when I write episode 3 says immediately, so I know it's something crazy.
They kiss.
Oh, they're a non-entity. It's not about them. I can already tell. Okay, so
This
go.
is interesting.
Yeah, let's rush into episode 3 because this is where it gets juicy.
Okay, because I don't remember what happened next because my next note says,
This was-
I said it once and I'll say it again. I like Izzy and Stacy. So what happened?
This is the episode where I do start to like Izzy. This is the episode where I'm starting to be more convinced that
I love
Izzy
my
and
original
Stacey,
thoughts and opinions though.
Izzy and Stacey are meant to be together out of the options that we
Yes,
have.
out of
This
the
is where I
options,
start
absolutely.
to sense the red flag, the manipulation a little bit in Johnny. But I do think there's an aspect of their relationship that
Oh, maybe you're
Izzy
right.
could have learned
No,
from.
pause.
because I
Maybe
feel
you're
like
right,
the-
and I switched it about assessing Johnny over Izzy because I said I consider Johnny's trauma not his, but maybe I switched it because it wasn't until Izzy didn't pick her that I was like, maybe Johnny's picker is wrong. Like
Johnny's
the
picker.
way
is
that
wrong.
she pursues relationships and men is wrong.
Yeah. And she's kind of self-aware about that because she says, like, her parents even said to her something about, like, I'm not, there's a
raising
comment.
grandkids.
Exactly, yeah. Like, maybe you're not supposed to be in a relationship kind of thing, which is kind of crazy for people to tell you, but she's kind of self-aware about that. But still, there's an aspect of their relationship that I almost feel like Izzy can learn from, even though at this point I do start to feel like Stacey is a better pick for Izzy.
Exactly, it's about the mesh of it too. Like, he
Exactly.
could learn something, but will you
But I
do it
don't think
together?
that I didn't like the way you could sense him fully getting overwhelmed. This is not like
Yeah,
a right
yeah,
or wrong
yeah,
thing,
yeah.
but I didn't like that as soon as she starts to get vulnerable with something that's very like you've given her the space to be vulnerable, and then she just gets one level above your baggage, and then it's like you're shut
Exactly.
down, now you're quiet, and you can't give her anything back.
I don't like that.
Now
that
it's not gonna work.
I didn't like that was the end of it.
Yeah.
And especially after watching the way Uche and Aaliyah handled their conversation.
Yeah.
Her literally sharing that, yes, and she said from jump, pretty early on, that her past relationships suffered with addiction, like David's or whatever the case, even if it was editing or whatever. Like, she's expressed that, like, based on my relationship history, you would not assume. So for her to, like, it wasn't, of all the things we've heard, it wasn't out of left field for her to be like,
For her to say.
my ex struggled with addiction issues and I
Exactly.
lost him from an overdose. And now you're like,
That's right.
whoa, that's crazy. I don't know if I can handle it. Like,
You're right though, and comparing their situation, their little bit of a tiff, thank you, to Aaliyah and Uche's, vastly different.
especially in the way that Uche handled it versus
Yeah.
the way he's handling it. It's like,
But that's a more thing.
okay.
It's crazy because they're literally the opposite. I feel like in this
Yeah,
situation,
yeah.
Uche's more emotionally mature. It seems like than Izzy,
Yeah.
and Aaliyah's the more. But
You always have the runner in the
this
track
is the
part, but I
part
don't
where
think
the
Izzy's
explaining
as much.
what I was saying earlier about Aaliyah and Uche's dynamic, where Uche being the more emotionally intelligent one would have the ability to gaslight her. This is where when you see when the girl has that ability to be the emotionally intelligent one, how they can gaslight, because you see how
She
quickly
can
Johnny
easily
starts to
influence
do
him.
it with Chris. It's not gonna work, babe. If you wouldn't have mugged him off so fast, maybe it would have worked. But she was so ready. This is why I didn't start to like Johnny anymore. Because why are you turning around to manipulate Chris now? Why are you going now to
And
everyone
here's
saying,
the thing. This is why I think, like, you can have all emotional maturity in the world, but if you cannot handle a severance of a relationship with grace, there's nothing you can do. Because even
Literally.
when Izzy ended it with her, suddenly she doesn't know how to be
Exactly.
like.
And it's like you can still
She
be
started-
sad about it, but you
she
didn't have to
started
go talking
shitting
so much about Chris.
It's not
Now
on
it's
everyone.
embarrassing.
Even not even just Chris, because she shit on Chris with him, which is like, you didn't know he was gonna go back to the boys' quarters and talk shit on you.
Exactly.
Even
Which
with
I don't
his
know why
bad
they do
memory.
that anyway, because they literally live together. You spend less time with you than they do the other people.
But like, she even talked poorly on Izzy himself. She was like, oh wait, was this episode? Maybe I'll wait. But whatever.
Okay.
He was basically like, he has bad credit, and I. Okay.
So guys, we had some technical difficulties.
We have to record on the laptop now because.
Excuse the terrible.
You understand? Don't act like you have storage on your phone. Don't act like you have storage.
Okay, guys, we were just yappa about episode 3, but we're gonna get into the juicy stuff, and we're really happy.
No, we need to wrap episode 3. Ended on juicy. Lydia.
What is the last
The
scene?
Lydia expose. We have not, like, that was cut. It being exposed that Lydia is a liar.
Okay.
We basically were talking about the entire conversations, like looking back in retrospect to all of Lydia's conversations and advice being given. Manipulative. Messed up. She should have kept her opinion to herself.
Yes. Oh my god, that whole conversation stressed me out so much. I think all I wrote on this part was, Lydia and Aaliyah's friendship is not going to last, of course. It's not going to last. It's not even a friendship right now.
Exactly. It wasn't anything of substance to begin with. So.
And in the conversation, part of me was, there's a part where I wrote, Uche is gaslighting Aaliyah a little bit.
Yeah.
I said,
why do you keep that to himself? Again, these two people that are, I value honesty and trust. Liars and liars and liars talking about.
And maybe that's why he was so forgiving of her of the other situation, because he knows he himself is holding on to something big. So I said he was gaslighting her a little bit. I said she was grasping too hard for validation from the relationship and how much he wants her. Like, there's a moment where she wasn't able to fully ask him the questions that she needed to be asking him. She almost just switched. I almost remember her switching into, like, okay, so how much do you like me kind of stuff, like, how much do you like me kind of questions. And it was giving me, you need to be asking him what he needs to answer. The way he asked you how long ago was that is what you should have been asking him. But you went and asked.
She didn't even ask her.
She even asked her. Lydia wanted to open her mouth to say yes, and oh god, yes.
So
and
at this point,
we're
into episode 4 because it just ends on the Lydia. It's Lydia. I value honesty, people.
No,
so Lydia's wild.
So go through your thoughts.
Lydia is wild for this. Like I listen.
No,
I didn't even have time to fully process that Uche is really sharing this information. I said the fact that it's Lydia of all people
is crazy.
Sick. That's wild.
Very crazy.
Doesn't make sense. Does not add up.
And it makes sense why they did it last. She's way too much for someone like Uche, but it's still like, yeah, he was giving me too much of like, why is he so emotional about this situation still? Like he just kept, I don't know.
What's your assessment on him? Because I didn't think too much about him.
There's a moment where I wrote, Uche and Lydia are the same. I don't remember where I said this, but I wrote, they're both gaslighting their partners about this situation. Mm-hmm. And it was so annoying. Because he would, the same way he was so quick to like lay out what accountability Aaliyah should have been taking. Yeah. He wasn't really, like, he wasn't giving her the same grace to be like, there was a moment where he said to her, like, he wasn't even letting her be hurt. He would, like, Aaliyah's cried a lot and she shouldn't even be crying for some of those situations, but he wouldn't even let her just cry. He was just like, I get you're sad, but like, do you know how hard this is for me?
You've had days to process the fact
that I literally punch you through this wall. Are you joking?
And you will
how hard this is for me? He said, I'm sorry this is hard for you, but can you imagine how hard this is for me? And then Lydia running to only tell Milton after it's already been exposed. It's crazy, babe. It's crazy. I can appreciate Milton taking a second to be like,
I wish he took more than a few seconds. I wish he took more than that 5 minutes to really sit with it because he did not want to be there. He did not want to be with her. He did not want to pursue this partnership.
He shouldn't be with her.
But he circled back and wound up consoling her when he deserved the space to be upset.
No, the conversation...
He was robbed of an experience. Because he's right.
Yeah.
He would not have pursued you had he known that.
He was robbed of an experience from the beginning, though. This is what I mean by, like, someone like Lydia only works with, like, the reason it's working with someone like her and Milton is because of that dichotomy of she is someone who will go, and he is someone who doesn't know how to, he has no vim to move. He's someone who just sits, so she will latch somebody like that. You see how she got so emotional when he couldn't even communicate?
She's gonna go mad.
She was so red. She's like, you mean I can't gaslight you more in this moment? Please don't leave. Baby.
I literally said Milton and Aaliyah be free.
No,
so you're right. Lydia and Uche are the same because I want them both to have freedom.
So there's a moment when Milton finally, this is jumping towards the end. Okay, there's a moment when Milton finally proposes to Aaliyah, not to Aaliyah, to Lydia.
What did you say?
There was such a perfect like picture where I was like, this right here shows you exactly how this relationship is gonna be. He had his hand in his head, and she was running to go touch her.
Sandra
didn't even wait. I didn't think she said thank you,
I
nothing.
wrote down, I said she is more excited to be engaged and share the news than she is to have Milton.
Milton is sitting there thinking,
Still really
did I
confident.
even make the right
just
decision?
proposed. This is why I'm saying, like, when you're looking at saying, like, the girls go back and cry in public, it's the Lydias and the Aaliyahs. Like,
yeah,
they're the ones going to have some performative, like, these aren't even your
Yeah.
friends. These are strangers you met 5 seconds ago. Yes, congrats on getting
and
engaged.
this is where I agree with you in
Did
that
you
it
find
is a
a
bit
partner?
healthy for Stacey to be withholding a little bit. Something about her I even have a note in here where I said, I don't remember where this happened, so I skipped over it. But I said, is Stacey a narcissist?
Maybe.
There was a moment where I was like,
I don't know. I'm not a
something
fucking
was giving very
psychologist.
performative. Let me
That's
look
so
through my
interesting because I
screenshots
love
and
Stacey.
see.
Literally, I think this episode I literally go, Stacey is a girl's girl. This is good advice. She was
When
giving,
she gave
when she
Lydia
was
the
giving
advice,
Lydia
yes.
advice.
I was
I was
like,
like,
that's
this
the advice that
advice
Lydia-
is even on deaf ears because she's gonna go use it
Because
to manipulate Milton.
exactly.
However, this is the advice that people should be giving.
I wish you guys could see the screenshots that we took, okay? Because there's so many moments where you really should just see the faces. Like, I wish we could just watch
You
it
know what's
with
so
you
funny?
guys.
I think I intentionally wrote down how much I love Stacey because I knew how you were gonna feel a way about her. Because
Really?
I see how she could be perceived in a certain way, but I love it. And it's giving for me, it's even like you're thinking, oh, is she a narcissist? Could she be a narcissist? It's because these people aren't her friends. She knows these people aren't her
No, that's
friends.
one layer. They don't have to be her friends. There's something about Stacey that's
Look at them
giving
crying
me...
right now. Why does Stacey need to be talking to them?
There's one scene. There's Stacey. You know what it is? Stacey's giving me like
Are you projecting
emotionally
the previous
intelligent.
blondes? Love is Blind's previous blondes. Are you projecting them on her?
Well, that's why I said at the beginning, she's giving me a little bit of Micah. So I have to admit that a certain sense of it, of how she was behaving, somewhere, somehow was giving me, she's not giving me girls girl at all.
She gave
she's
you that
giving
in
me realist,
the very
she's
first
giving me
episode,
logical.
not in the following.
Maybe, but because that was one of my first notes of her. That was one of my first notes about her, that I don't really like Stacey. But
I like her.
afterwards, I
Same.
do like to start her a little bit more. But there's a moment where she's giving me like emotionally intelligent pick me. She's not even emotionally intelligent. She's
still
giving
think
me
she's a
manipulative pick me. Like she's just a higher level of pick. She's just better at.
I think
getting
I'm
picked
not.
than
I'm
the other
not.
girls.
I'm not saying she's not a pick me. That's why I said I think she has the capability to get a proposal. Should she be with that person? I think in this case, because I'm like, I actually do think her and Izzy are compatible. They
For
should
sure.
work. That it's like okay, but she can still be with me. Everyone to some capacity has to be a pick me to be on the show. Like you want to be chosen and picked. Like, come on now.
Because if you're right though, because to a certain extent, if any of them were to be real with themselves, she actually found someone who she's more or most compatible with.
Because even with
Whereas
Izzy,
someone like Johnny and Lydia should just leave if they were real with themselves. Do you know what I'm saying?
yeah, because even with someone like Izzy, even when Izzy sat her down and were like, "You're not being vulnerable with me," like I don't. She was like, "I know that with myself. Like I know I'm not being vulnerable with you, and I could be more vulnerable. However, I know what I have to offer."
Okay, so you know what it is? Maybe the part where I said is she a narcissist, because I have a bunch of screenshots where she comes in crying to the girls, like how she finally
Izzy
got
cried?
engaged.
Oh,
Stacey.
okay, this is the
How she comes in finally crying to the girls, and there's a moment where she just says, like, it's just you put so much work into it, you put so much into it, just trying to get there, and it just, once you get there, it just feels so good. Like, something about what she was saying was just like,
that moment, to be fair, was giving like, I know Johnny's watching.
yeah, I was
It
like,
was giving-
babe.
But okay, but also,
Let me get my phone now so I can
literally,
read it.
but also, sure, maybe. Let me hold for you.
I'm about to break
It's
everything.
the top. It's just the top.
Oh.
Also, like, sure. Let's assume the worst. Maybe doing it when Johnny is in the eye line of the camera is narcissistic. Maybe she said it because she just wanted Johnny to hear. But Johnny's been talking, maybe not in front of her, but Stacey's a smart woman, an intelligent woman. She knows Johnny's talking shit. Johnny has already said, in the same house, in the girls' quarters, has said, even if he doesn't pick me, picking Stacey is settling.
No,
Stacey
Johnny
is
has
his
been
Chris.
talking a lot.
Stacey is his whatever. But so if I was Johnny, this is why I respect Stacey, because I'm like, I see myself in you. I too would want to behave the way you're behaving.
Are you a narcissist?
Maybe ask the doctor. Are you a
No,
like,
listen, I just
are you
found this
diagnosed?
screenshot because there's a part where she's doing this and I'm like, she's not even crying. And she's literally just like, it's just something about what she was saying also was giving, I knew I could get here all along, and this is what I meant to
She
happen.
said,
And something
she
about
said, look, after all of my work and
all of my
effort,
work, yeah, I was like,
I got a fiance. And you did. And you did, babe.
I was
Let's
scared.
go back to my previous note where I said, Stacey is the kind who can get the proposal from a man.
Yeah.
Who should be with someone else.
And she's like, it just feels so good. I wish I could show you guys this screenshot so bad. Anyway.
I stand Stacey. Until she does something to prove wrong.
Okay, so my next screenshot, because we just have to get to this, because this is when Aaliyah and Lydia are having the conversation at the end about this situation. She finds out that
Lydia
she
showed
knows.
her ass again.
Lydia shows
so
even,
goddamn
she shows,
annoying.
first she showed the bottom quadrant of her right cheek, then she showed the top. She has exposed the whole left and opened her cheeks. Because the girl has audacity, bro. You could tell, you know what's crazy? You thought Lydia talked too much before, and that was her withholding. Because the way the word vomit started coming when she was telling Lydia,
she even
Aaliyah,
this is the pickiest of the pick-bees.
hey,
She even said, I don't want to know that. She said, wait, let me tell you that I
No,
know
let
his
me
brother
tell
and
you.
his friends and his siblings and his dog.
let me tell you, he
loves me
was clapping my cheeks 3 months ago, and this is where
No,
Aaliyah
but I also
has
don't believe that timeline.
I do, because Lydia...
No, not the 3 months. That one I believe because he never refuted.
Yeah.
But she's just, because even when she went back to talk to Milton, she said, this is what I don't believe. She said, I broke up with him in February.
such a liar.
You had sex in January, but
No,
you
listen.
broke up.
Every-
And she even lied to Lydia.
That's what... No,
Lydia,
everything she said to Milton was a lie. Because she wanted to go in and flip it as if, I just wanted to come and be honest with you, even though now it's out on the table. I wanted to tell you that I ended things with him. That's not true. She didn't give
That's
any
not
details
true.
to him about anything, but it's the way Uche literally said to her everything. Like, I ended things with her. And this is where there's a moment where I was like, Aaliyah being the kind of person who cannot be a critical thinker was irritating me.
Because he's providing you with everything you need to know.
Everything. And it's like, you're letting girls more yappa yappa in your ear because you want to trust them
and
more.
honestly, and this is what she was irking me so much when she kept saying, like, I would never have to be friends with her, I would never do this, but it's just like,
And you shouldn't.
I need you to assess that she's been the loudest in your ear this whole time. And she has the same information he does.
The thing that's crazy is that Aaliyah, even before this situation came out, right, Aaliyah should have known that Lydia's not a good friend to her.
Exactly.
Lydia was being messy towards her from the beginning. But
Exactly.
this situation just added to it. So it's like, why are you mad at him that he told you when he was the one who came and told you? Lydia has been in your face this whole time, befriending you and has known. That's even more scary.
Even when she sat down and said, he told me, and Lydia goes, oh,
you know?
Why didn't you tell me? What didn't you tell me?
Aaliyah, this is where Aaliyah started to piss me off because I'm like, you're doing too much. No, you're not doing enough is the problem. You're doing too little. Why are you like, and then she goes to be mad at Uche, like, I didn't want to hear all those details from her. You shouldn't have.
You should have told her to shut up.
You shouldn't have, because it's disrespectful for her.
Repeatedly.
Even when she was like,
do you know he owns a Tesla? Do you know he's a... No, I'll ask him. I'll ask him.
No, Aaliyah was really... Even
if anything, that whole conversation should have gassed you up.
No,
it should have said, wow, you're really exposing the fact that you know all this about him, you're so close to him, but he doesn't want you.
This is my other screenshot where Lydia is once again showing scary behavior. She literally is projecting to the highest degree.
She's holding a mirror in front of her old face saying, I see myself in you. Yes,
no, it's not even that to that level. She wants so bad to feel like Aaliyah is the second. She kept saying to her, she said to her,
you choose someone just like me.
Here he is picking someone so similar to Lydia. She said, and Aaliyah's like, yeah. She goes, this is the universe giving me a second chance to have an amazing, great-ass woman. Babe, this is not about you.
And this is why, if Aaliyah had the fucking wherewithal, first of all, if Aaliyah had wherewithal, she could have assessed from jump, we are not the same.
Exactly.
Me and you are not the same. But instead you want to be besties, so you're like, we are so similar, but now look how he chose me once first, and he's choosing you second.
And now he's choosing you now. And
now what can you say? Now what can you say? Because that's your bestie. That's your bestie.
Okay, so let me get to, if you have any more thoughts, read them, because I want to get to the questions I have for you after these 4 episodes.
Well, after these 4 episodes, it ends with Aaliyah left.
So that's what I'm going to say to you.
Doesn't know how to communicate. Where did you go?
This is the first question. Thoughts? No, we'll ask this question last, actually.
Okay.
My first question is, what do you think about Aaliyah leaving?
I literally thought it was a joke. At first when they were like, hello. I was like, she's late. She grabbed her coffee. Like, just cut to it. Leaving.
It's so dramatic.
You could have had a conversation with him. Like, you want to be chased, but this is not the setup of the show. Like, he's stuck in the box.
That's actually true. I didn't think about that. Yeah, like, she wants to be chased so bad.
Because he did not deserve that.
Yeah. No, but she's so emotionally unintelligent. It's so annoying. It's actually aggravating at this point. Already it's aggravating because it's like, why are you grasping to hear the girl's words, Lydia's words, when everything the man is giving you is so honest.
If anyone should have thrown the advice away quick, if you had the information to be like, I should not listen to anything that comes out of your
literally
mouth, but instead you went back to have a conversation with her as if her word was gold. Instead of for you to go back to your man and assess and ask follow-up questions, be like, she told me things I didn't want to know.
What actually is the truth? Exactly. Instead of you just stand your ground.
And this is I still love you, I still trust you, to then leave.
Exactly. Leave because of what she told you instead of even at least this is where she kind of triggered me. This is where I have to recognize where my triggers are coming in because I'm like, I wish so bad she would set a boundary. Coming from a bitch that doesn't know how to set boundaries. I wish so bad she would have set a hard cross line of like, I just told you I do not want to hear this anymore. This is where when we talk about with girls in real life, like, if you let men talk too much, you keep trying to make sense of what men are saying, but in reality, what they're saying is not making sense. So the more they talk, you're just confusing yourself. This is Lydia with Aaliyah. Stop letting the girl talk because you're spending so much time with her. The more she talks to you, the more you're getting confused. Mm-hmm. It's draining to listen to someone like Lydia. She's gaslighting you 24/7.
I literally be like, I don't want to have this conversation anymore. You're sharing things with me.
Lydia's literally crying every day, like, why would a man not accept me? Girls, take notes because the girl is crazy. The girl is crazy.
But also, Uche said, and he said, keep this to us. Even die you can't. But he said, neither Milton or Aaliyah should be getting or Lydia should be getting married.
They should not be getting married. So that's
Milton for his own reasons. Lydia for very obvious reasons.
That leads to my next questions then. Thoughts on the couple so far, and who do you think will last?
Who do I think will last? Do they
started
last
with
on the show
red,
anymore?
white, and blue? Red, white, and yellow.
It's so hard for me to assess. Also, I didn't watch last season.
That was so annoying.
But it's so hard for me to assess, like, candidly with these white couples because I can't even pretend to understand. No, but like literally up until the engagement, I didn't even process like, oh, maybe she won't like him because I'm thinking, ew. Maybe she does like him. But when she said like, why would I like someone with? I typically in the past I wouldn't go for someone with a gap tooth, but like I fell in love with him. I'm like, okay, maybe. But like the one thing about this show, the one thing about a show like this is the men will always have audacity, right? So the doors will open. Yeah. The doors will open, right? And the woman will always be more stunning than the man. The woman will always have, but let you be in the honeymoon for like a couple days too long. Suddenly he's thinking,
I could do better. This is how why every season when they release the other girls that the guys had chances with, the guys start acting
shaking in their boots.
And this is what pisses me off.
Remember, they couldn't see you. If they saw you, they might have not spoken to you a little bit.
This is where if Johnny and Stacey were together, like if Johnny had also been engaged, and Izzy would have seen for a fact that he made the right decision. Mm-hmm. Whereas I was thinking earlier, if he picks Johnny, he's gonna be sick when he sees Stacey. But anyway, that might be me projected.
No, but I thought as well.
There's a moment. This is where I lost my train of thought.
You said, how do I feel about the couple so far? We're talking about JP and Taylor.
Oh, yes. The thing that irritates me about girls and guys dating dynamics in general, because you're so right about the girls marginally are always going to be more attractive than the guys, right? The guys have enough audacity to pick them up, and the girls have enough of a level of wanting to be picked so bad that they will grasp onto the relationship.
Remember your roots.
What's her name? JP and the other girl.
Taylor.
And Sugarfoot.
Sugar. He just keeps calling her Sugar.
Sugar. You can tell she's a little less attracted to him now that they're out. You can tell that.
But if you actually had conversations of substance, you wouldn't be in the situation.
His boringness, his lameness is starting to annoy her immediately already. But girls' levels of needing to be in a relationship and needing to be with someone is definitely gonna sustain her through the show because she ain't gonna get out of that relationship on the show.
Thing. Do they work? Do they not? I don't know. I don't care. Like even if they get married, they'll get divorced or suffer through.
You don't know if they get along, if they work or not, because they've had no real.
Their whole they force fed me a whole montage of nothing.
Yeah.
Of nothing.
I don't remember anything about them. The crazy thing is it's still recording as the camera's on.
That's crazy.
Crazy girl.
Who's next?
Who's the next
Izzy and
couple?
Oh, we didn't even discuss Chris rejecting Johnny.
Oh,
I have never been. That's what Milton should have done.
That should have been Milton, exactly.
But Chris saying, "I need to be selfish."
Yes,
because I would love to be with you. I would be. It would be great if you didn't egg on my face.
Egg on my
if you didn't drag my name through the dust. If your ex-man wasn't in the house saying that you thought I was a safe, boring choice.
Chris is literally what Aaliyah should be doing, right? Chris literally went to talk to her, came back to talk to the boys, and said something ain't adding up. Aaliyah went to go talk to this one, and went back and said, "You're Aaliyah."
But
I just want to talk to her. I really just want to sit down and talk to her because, babe, what? What the fuck? Chris said,
"You can't."
"Well, actually,
can't
that doesn't even make sense because what she said to me is this. This is how I felt, and this is what you're saying. This is not making sense." Which he's so right because
but did he act like what was the truth? Because I couldn't remember what Johnny said.
I did have to think about that because I didn't know if it was them misinterpreting what Johnny was saying.
Because even the way that Izzy was relaying it, I was like, even in your eyes, I can't tell if you believe
if
that.
You even remember. For sure, exactly.
He seems like the kind of person that like remembers the overall feeling, but not the details of the words.
Exactly.
So like,
I did.
She did call you boring and safe, but did she say like, you're? I don't know.
This is where Johnny talking too much got her in a bind.
Exactly.
I did also think the same thing. Like, damn, did she actually say that? But the overall premise of what he was saying was, despite the details, you were saying that he's boring and he's not really the person that you would have chosen. That's what she did tell Izzy and Johnny though. But she did tell Izzy, this is what I've always done in the past, and I wanted to do something different with you. So Izzy may have switched it up. But either way, she told what's his name the same thing. She told Chris, like, this is what I've always done in the past. You felt like the safe option, and I wanted to do something different.
The only difference is she and sitting and assessing, like, oh, this man doesn't want me, she was like, no, maybe he's the pattern I'm repeating. Now, I don't know if I believe it or not. Because initially, I do think that's what she portrayed. She was like, no, I go after safe men. This is what Izzy said to him. But it's like, no, I go after XYZ men. But I don't think she goes after safe men if her exes are addicts. I feel like that's not the story that I was being perceived. But regardless, you think they're safe addicts or they're the safe?
I don't know, safe addicts, but like, safe addicts and safe emotionally for her. Maybe he just happened to be an addict. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe.
It's kind of
we don't know anything about her ex-husband.
And the other one, exactly. It doesn't matter what he was like because she said he was a rebound. So that one you can't really put in.
But she just wound up flipping the narrative anyway. It's like.
Either way, she doesn't want to be with Chris, so that should have ended, and good on him for ending it because she was going, regardless of whether Izzy misconstrued details.
And Chris, you beautiful, sexy soul, just leave the show. You'll find a wife.
No, literally at this point, go check your DMs.
Literally, they're probably floated right now asking, "Are you married? Are you married, sir? How tall are you in real life and outside of the screen?"
Because the man is giving 5'4".
Like something on it's
5'4",
like Tom
5'6".
Cruise, like you know what I mean, like. 5'4". You really think anyone below you is just a dwurf? He's not getting 5'4".
5'6", maybe.
Be serious, Chris. I believe in you. 5'8".
Okay. Who next? Do Milton and them
the
first,
couple that should not be.
Yeah, they're not even gonna last past the honeymoon.
Bro, the preview of like the moms being like, "What does a 30-year-old have to do with a 24-year-old?"
Yeah, exactly.
You're lying.
It's giving the
and you can't even
so desperate. You can
be desperate and manipulate the 24-year-old. You can't fool mama.
Exactly.
Be so serious. And she knows what her son looks like.
Girl, that's why she's looking at Milton like, be so serious, baby. Be so serious. I need
if you don't collect your coin and move to Argentina on your damn own.
Milton's so sweet though.
I know, and he shouldn't be wasting his youth.
He's just not emotionally mature, and that's okay.
And but even he came to that revelation on his own. He said, "I came on the show as a 24-year-old, and I'm leaving realizing there's so much more I have to learn."
Yeah.
And you said, "Baby, the fact that you even know that is so, babe. Just because you're an emotionally immature 30-year-old doesn't mean he's light years ahead."
And she knows enough that he should not her immature ass basically dumping him because he's 24. Meanwhile, you're basically the same. Mm-hmm. You're at the same maturity level.
And you're gonna rob him of his youth.
Of his.
You're gonna be trying to have children in 2 seconds. You're gonna be like, "I'll go to Argentina with you."
No, Milton needs to run. Milton needs to run.
His mom better free him. She won't even make it down the aisle. She'll be like, "You're not cute."
So, what is your prediction of Uche and Aaliyah? Do you think he's gonna be able to rekindle things? Because there is a scene where he meets up with her. Of course, love is blind. Loves doing this. They love doing.
I didn't watch last season. I think it's stupid. I think you need to stick to the format. I watched like the first couple episodes with you. I didn't see the end, but I know they did it with the
Bliss and Zach. Yeah.
But it's like it ruins it. be in love in the cubicle, go on your honeymoon, and also, why would you leave?
Why
You
would
don't want a free
leave?
honeymoon?
I'm so annoyed with her for leaving because why? It's literally you should have known that's how she is though when she walked out of the booth because it's like why are you being so dramatic? Why every day you want to run? But this is where Uche's analysis of her in that conversation was so accurate. She should have listened. She said that's more of a reflection on you for you to cheat on someone and not be able to tell them or leave the situation. Just say you're not happy. All the reasons you keep giving of why you did it don't matter. You literally should have ended it with him then. That's valid that you weren't happy, you weren't sad. You just told him every day, I'm not pleased, I'm not pleased, I'm not pleased. How is he responsible for that?
End it. Open your lips.
She's a runner, she's a track star.
There's always a runner and there's always...
Anyway, I interrupted you. What were you about to say? About her leaving.
Oh, you asked me if I think how they're going to work out.
Yeah. Do you think even if he's able to convince her, because he does say to her, I was going to marry you. He went to that pot to propose to her. That's crazy. And that's the thing about.
And the thing is, I think she could be so easily switched, but it's just it's so fickle, it's so fleeting. It's do you even want to marry someone like that?
The scary thing about someone like this is what I mean about the puzzle piece, because someone like her very much fits with someone like Uche because he is a runner as well. But it's the reason she runs at just the worst time, right? Mm-hmm. And he will always chase, but just a little too late. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm. She even with the situation with the cheating, she literally it could be a cut, but she literally runs so close to him being able to just admit, right? Same thing with the cheating. She's like, he cheated, and then 3 months later you broke up anyway.
But that's the level
even
of
with this situation, she leaves, and then he's gonna come just as he's about to propose to you.
Share what you're thinking. Share your actual thought instead of this. I'm gonna run.
The fear is making
gonna come.
Run.
At what point will he stop chasing? Then where are you running to?
But this is where something like that. This is why I said their dynamic still has the capacity to be toxic, because this is another avenue of that I just thought about. Because even that dynamic, at what point is he gonna learn to just be like,
I'm not gonna run after you if you don't share your thought and opinion.
Exactly. And it's this level of at what point is she gonna learn to just actually say what she's feeling instead of him chasing her? I don't know.
She
definitely mid-20s.
Yeah, it's giving.
She's giving 25 to 27.
But
maybe.
It feels like this adolescent love where you're no, I just want my man to read my mind.
Yeah.
And, you should know. And it's almost I think about this because this is what I was when I was maybe a teenager and I'd watch shows like The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. In my mind, I'm the one that the person loves and is gonna pick anyway. So they should just
figure it out.
Get rid of all these 20 other women and pick me. I'm gonna leave the show and they're gonna pick me and the camera's gonna come and watch our love story. But babe, this is a show that you signed up for.
Yeah.
Why are you running? For them to for him to then break the script. Exactly. You're out here toying with this man's heart. So you come chase you? Go back into the fucking booth and have a conversation.
And now you just ruin it because instead of you coming out in a banger dress, he has to come see you in a cafe.
Mm. And just for what? Did you need to take your twists out? Come on now.
No.
Come on, Aaliyah.
She really annoyed me by leaving. When they said Aaliyah's gone, my mouth dropped. I said the girl's doing too much. She's doing too much.
Because you know you're gonna come back. We have several episodes left.
Yeah, you're literally talking about this is the closest you've gotten. You want to marry him. You want him so bad.
Lies. It's just because just lies are coming out of her mouth. Her and Lydia were matching each other. Just lies. Lydia's crazy enough to follow through because she doesn't know what Milton looks like. But Aaliyah, I can't even pretend to know where her plan is. I don't think she
doesn't have. She could never have a plan. Runners don't have a plan. They go with the wind. That's so crazy. Okay, guys, this episode was very yappa.
Yeah.
Very. Maybe we'll be back next week because we need to get these thoughts out. Okay.
This crazy ass episode. I'm gonna listen to these voice memos now.
Yeah, listen to them. I want to hear his thoughts too.
Crazy.
You guys want to hear our co-host?
Our co-host.